That's a lot of fun there. Not all that accurate, but it's definitely really fun. That ain't bad though. I mean, it is a mini crossbow, and I ain't very skilled at it. I had to adjust the sight. That first one far left, I adjusted the sight. I moved it over far to the right. That's the only biggest complaint. The sights can move left and right, and that's really not a. I mean, it's not like it's an adjustment. You can knock it that way by accident. So you have to be really aware of where the sights are on this thing. But it's not bad though. That second one here I got right there. The third one ain't so bad either. A lot of fun though. Let's try it again. To the left again. I wasn't planning on showing the second grouping I done. Good gosh. It's still shooting to the left. I guess I'm going to have to adjust the sights more to the right, but this time here I aimed 3 shots on the same spot, and that's a pretty dang good grouping. I mean, I know this ain't far. For a mini crossbow, that's probably about the best grouping I've done. They about got on top of each other here. That's really cool there. I mean, this thing is just a lot of fun. You can plink around with it. Take your kids out back, plink around with it. And if it had to be, I guess you could hunt with it. I'd probably get a bigger crossbow, but I mean it's a fun thing though. Recreational. Now this thing's fun. We went out here in the back and shot this thing plenty of times. Its pull string is really strong. 80 pounds, I believe. I mean it's just a lot of fun. And I can't believe that. I about got them on top of each other. About done a Dukes of Hazzard trip on you. Oh me. See what this thing will do to a piece of scrap 2x4. I mean, it's standard thickness 2x4, but it's just a piece of scrap. Let's see if it'll go through it. I think it will. Well, it didn't go through it. Made a good sized hole though. Made quite a good sized hole. These things are fun, but remember they're not really a toy. So still try to keep them away from your kids. Cause look, even the arrows by themselves. I don't know if you can see that or not. I don't know if it's zoomed in or not. They are really pointy. Actually called bolts. Excuse me, crossbows. They're fun to play around with, fun to have your kids play around with, but just remember, when it's not in use or you're not supervising, it'd be a good idea to lock it up. Other than that though, it's a really fun deal, and I love it. It's a fun little thing, and the crossbow bolts are real cheap, real easy to come by. You can find them on Amazon. I think last time I looked, for like $4 for a pack of 10, I think. Little bitty mini crossbow bolts. I don't know if this is different from the full size. I can imagine it probably is. I imagine the full size is a lot bigger. But a lot of fun though, that's for sure. Howdy, Bucko here again, and today I'm going to review the Cobra mini crossbow. Got an 80-pound string on it. It shoots these mini crossbow bolts, as you'll see in the video. Now, anybody that's familiar with crossbows, they probably already know how this works. But basically, the way you cock it is, you're going to take it and you push down on this button, and then you're going to operate that kind of like a lever action. You're going to operate it down until it cocks the string. These two rods here cock that string all the way back and lock it into place. When it locks into place, it's going to turn this thing here, which is the safety on. You put the bolt in. I do it with the safety on just for safety reasons. Go ahead and put the bolt in, then you push your safety forward. It ain't going to go up far, but it's going to go up enough, and that'll take it off the safe, and then you'll be ready to fire. As I said, it has an 80-pound string on it. And I tell you what, when you get this thing together, it's going to come in, I think, 3 main parts. You got the crossbow itself, then you got the actual bow part, this metal, it's like some out of metal. You'll get that part separate, and you'll get the string separate, along with its 2, kind of like a plastic, I don't know, tips it's going to ride on. Now, to me, I'm sure somebody's saying, God, you know, you shouldn't struggle with that, but I really struggled to get that string on there. I had to get somebody's help, and we had to literally hold this metal piece down to get that string across from there. Yeah, it took forever, and it took almost cussing. I don't cuss, but it about drove me to cussing. It was something else. But we finally got it on there, though, and this thing is really, really fun. You'll see me shoot it in the video. But this thing is really, really fun. And I'll give you a little background on why I bought it. I bought it because me and my family recently have gotten into The Walking Dead. And being in, you know, watching The Walking Dead, especially if you watched it at all, you've seen Daryl with his crossbow, you know, getting zombies in the head every time with it. Of course, his is a big crossbow. And I actually looked to, I mean, it impressed me so much, it's like, you know, I was like, I want one. So I looked on the internet, and I tried to look for the same crossbow as his, which is a Striker 380, if I'm correct. And the prices were just so steep. I was like, ugh. It's like, I want to have the same amount of fun, but with that $400, you know, because I might end up getting a bigger one later on, but for right now, I was like, God, it's a lot of money, you know. So I looked on Amazon, and I just typed in crossbow. I was like, well, maybe they'll have an economy crossbow that I could buy for cheap. And I found this thing here on there. And I bought this thing for, I think, right at 35 bucks. I mean, that is really, really cheap for as much fun as you get out of it. I mean, to me, that's a great deal. $35, free shipping, I believe. Excuse me. I mean, to me, that's a great deal. We've had a lot of fun with it thus far. So, like I tried to zoom in on it last time, it's a Cobra. I mean, it is just a lot of fun. Accuracy wise, it's pretty accurate. I mean, as you've seen on that paper, it can make a good group, but it's going to take training. I mean, you're going to have to get used to it. It's going to take practice. I'm going to need more practice to get good at it. I shoot it and we have fun with it, but it's more plinking. I think if I really took it out back and just shot it for a straight day, I think I'd eventually get it. But and I think you get good groups off of it. I think when you're really, really trying, I think you can. But the biggest downfall, if you're really trying to get accurate shots is these sights. Now I want you to look at this. This is the knob that turns it left and right, right? Well, you barely push this, and I don't know if you can see it on camera, but that moves. And that don't seem like much. I mean, that might not seem like much, but that is a lot when you're aiming down the sights. Now, of course, you got the elevation bar here, too. That is a lot of movement when you aim down the sights. All it takes is, if you had it in that spot there and you set your sights right, all it takes is you barely bump it and you won't know it, and your sights are way off. That's probably a lot of the problems why I ain't got really good at it. Now, pulling it back, it's not very hard for me, cocking it. But it's harder for kids. I mean, if you're going to plink with your kids, you're probably going to have to cock it for them. Yeah, that's a lot of pull. It's an 80-pound pull string there. I think it's what you call it. And it pulls. It takes a lot to pull it. I ain't gonna lie. You can get good leverage on it. I love the way they have it cocked. You can get good leverage on it. You know, my little brother's a half plate. The one that can get it cocked, he has to really put his weight down to get it cocked, but he eventually gets it. But it's a really, really fun deal, and I think that's the main reason behind this. I think if you had to, in a survival situation, I think you could probably go hunting with it, maybe hunt a rabbit. But I don't, you know, it's going to be difficult, I'd say. With the right practice, right training, I think anything's possible with about any weapon. But that's another thing I want to get to. This thing is fun. It's very recreational, but it is dangerous. It can be very dangerous. It's all right to let your kids play, but I think it'd be good if you supervised them, Because this thing's down. I'm going to look at the tip on this. That is, see if I can get it to focus on for you. Now, I need to get me a new camera eventually, but it's got really sharp tip on it. And we're shooting at the building. You'll see it in the video. That's a wooden building that has a pretty thick layer of chipboard, and it's going right through that chipboard with no problem. And in fact, in one of the videos, I don't know if I end up telling you about it, but it actually goes all the way through, and it's in there somewhere. And that's the second one I've lost. Just went all the way through. So when I open it back up, I'm going to have 2 crossbow bolts. As far as these bolts, these are just cheap ones I found on Amazon. That actually, these here actually I bought separate. They was just really cheap, like $3 or $4, and they're pretty good. But you can tell in some ways they are cheap. There's one here. Let's see. It's actually, I think, in the pack. It lost its tip. Like, it went through like the building and it flew somewhere in the building somewhere. And oh, by the way, don't worry about that building. The only reason I'm shooting at it because we plan on tearing it down here really soon. Otherwise, I wouldn't be shooting at my own stuff. But yeah, but the tip did come off. You can tell it's cheap. But here's something that amazes me. That thing, I actually shot it, and you can see where the fins were bent in here on this one. This is the one with no tip. It actually went almost all the way through. So even without a tip, these bolts are really dangerous. So just keep that in mind. Let's keep it safe, guys. If it's me, either lock up the crossbow or the ammo or both. I mean, you know, because it's fun, but it's not a toy. Just remember that. Do I recommend? Heck yeah. Especially at the price I got it. I don't know if there's still $35 on there or not, but this is a really, really fun thing. You can see right now how bad the sights are offline. All you got to take. See? But this is a really, really fun thing. It can bring a lot of enjoyment. It really can. I recommended it buying whenever you get a chance. You just never know. Stuff comes and goes. But I definitely recommend, and you know, thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll have more videos coming your way here real soon. I appreciate it. God bless.